Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I am Kelly Stewart, joined today by Tony Finn. Doing a peace sign, I like it. And Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV. Tony at WagerTalk on Twitter. Oh my goodness, you guys are too funny. Okay, let's talk some SEC basketball.
Did I do that backwards for the camera? I don't know which way.
I don't know.
Okay,
you guys are weird.
You know what I meant, right?
Yeah, that he's a loser for giving thumbs up or peace signs.
Yeah,
of course.
Oh God. All right, Kentucky Wildcats, number 12 in the country versus the number 14 Auburn Tigers. Ken Palm's line is -3, so we'll call it a look-ahead line, if you will. Ralph, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on this game?
Well, you know, Bruce Pearl's creating a monster in Auburn, and the one thing is he's still building the culture. I mean, Auburn Arena is only 9,000, but they still don't sell out every game. It's not like you expect for a team that's had some success the last few years. This game obviously sold out. Auburn, though, is at home has been dynamic. Part of it is because of a weak schedule, and that's where we're going to see what happens this week. Auburn at home, 9-0, averaging 91 points per game, shooting 48%, which is unheard of, and they're number 6th in the country, making 10.8 three-pointers per game. So we know what Auburn wants to do at home. They press on defense, they shoot three-pointers. The problem is now they're on the road as we film tonight on Wednesday at A&M. A&M can be a physical team. It can take something out of your legs. They have a few days. They have 1 day less of rest with the travel than Kentucky. Kentucky played at Georgia last night. And the thing about Kentucky is this. You know, everyone talks about the Duke freshmen, and no one talks about Kentucky now. But this is a team that has had multiple lineups. The starting lineup that they have now has only started 7 or 8 games together, and they're starting to gel. And the lineup, they're leading. This tells you what you need to know about Kentucky. Going into Georgia yesterday, their leading scorer is Keldon Johnson. He averages 14.8 points per game. He was 0 for at Georgia. 0 for 6 or 0 for 7 yesterday, and Kentucky still wins by 20 points. They're a team that has 8 players that average from 7 to 14.8 points per game. One negative on Kentucky, Tony, before I throw it to you. They're only 2-1. They're 2-1 on the true road game this year. Last year, they were 3-3. These primo teams only play these road conference games, and that's it. So, again, it's tough for me to give a final say on what Auburn can do before the A&M game, but I think this is a game where I like the way Kentucky's playing, and if Auburn was in a physical game against A&M, which we don't know, I would lean with the points.
Tony, so real quick, I know Kentucky, there's a few college basketball teams, those blue blood teams that have those big-time names. Similar to what we see in NFL, you're paying a premium if you want to bet the New England Patriots at times, or are you paying a premium if you want to bet the Kentucky Wildcats this year? I feel like they're kind of having a down year, so to
I think that people look at them, you probing rate them, what, 3rd in the SEC?
Yes.
Tennessee, Auburn?
Right now,
then, yeah.
I will tell you this. I typically avoid Kentucky. I'm gonna fade them early in the season. No one tinkers more with his lineup, his young lineups, than Calipari does. Right now, Ashton Hagen, for instance, is really kind of he's blossomed into the player that Calipari depends on. He averaged 3 or 4 points a game first 11. He's averaging now 12 or 13. And quickly, Auburn is almost exactly the quintessential team. They live and die off a three-point shot. And I'll give you a perfect example. If they don't hit 37 plus from three-point line, I'll give you an example. 2 games back, I believe, they shot 33% from three-point line and still lost by 15, Ole Miss. They didn't play anyone, as you described, in non-conference, not one ranked team. Their 2 losses, I take it back. I think they lose to Duke, but Ole Miss lost to Duke. I looked at this morning, so I was so interested, but I really like Calipari. I typically, especially if they've lost 4 or 5 games during conference season, heading towards March, he's as many people who don't like Calipari, I like him playing him late simply because he could care less about anything until it's March.
Yeah, his non-conference schedule goes from November 1st to March 1st.
That's correct.
When you play the SEC title, SEC conference, he's a little bit interested, but other than that,
but you're
what
right,
does it matter if he's a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 seed?
It's very rare that we see a set of competitive schools. You're right, Ole Miss did lose last night, but they're still a very competitive school. Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky. Yes. Usually Kentucky doesn't have that much pressure. They lost at Alabama this year. That was one of those situational plays that Marco kind of talked about that I ended up on Alabama. So that's where I'm trying to figure out if this is situationally a play where Auburn's the favorite here for a reason.
Well, it's a little bit different because Kentucky, if you remember probably 4 years ago, the SEC was like the 5th or 6th best conference. It was Kentucky and everybody else.
Yes.
I mean, they were worried about who else is going to make the tournament except Kentucky. You know, then we saw Florida and South Carolina play some defense and make some runs, and Tennessee and Auburn have made their jump, and, you know, Tennessee and Auburn have continued to become the premier teams. So Kentucky's in a little different spot where you got a chip on your shoulder. I think you're the Kentucky Wildcats and you say we're an underdog. I think that is something for them to take and motivate them. Not that they need it playing Auburn.
For those watching this video, you might
hopefully that's everybody.
Yeah,
the whole world.
Everyone who's watching this video, check that box score of the Auburn game in Texas A&M. Listen, Texas A&M, Arkansas just lost by what, 100 to Tennessee last night? And they went into A&M and won. And this is not, if you trust Mike Anderson, you're a lot braver man than I am, especially when we're on the road. He doesn't have the player personnel to run that 40 minutes of hell that he grew up on.
Yeah, they don't have the guards.
No,
I mean,
they don't.
So
I mean, check that score, that Auburn score, before you venture into this Kentucky-Auburn game.
All right, great stuff from both guys. Tuesday is always Tuesday is always $2 Tuesday. You can get the hottest handicapper at WagerTalk. Best bet for just $2.